Good afternoon, collectors. Welcome to LEIGHTON'S LOFT. Thanks for joining us today. See, we have a number of folks already hanging. What's up, Tyler and Charles? Welcome, Chris, Todd, and Dom. What up, Melch, Ken, Nick? As I just joked with Lou before we hopped on, Lou is already at the National.
That's right. I hitchhiked out. I got my Volkswagen van, and I'm just camping out in the parking lot.
Now, we know you're not gonna make it this year, Lou. But you think there's a chance you're going to make it to next year's National, seeing as how you could drive there?
Atlantic City?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, William? How are you?
I would have been there if it had been Atlantic City this year, yeah.
Great. Got a feeling people are going to be lining up for the limited signing that we're going to be offering. We're going to tell people there's 25 slots available, Lou. They can do a meet and greet, and,
With me?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to see.
I don't know how those are going to sell, but okay, we'll go.
Hey, listen, I'm in for one.
All right, excellent.
I think the gang will be in for one. What's up, Sean? So just about, I can't believe it. I'm looking at the schedule, and it freaked out last night. I woke up 6 this morning, no alarm. The National's upon us, right? Now everyone who's going to the National is going to be arriving, on different days. What's up, Lucas? I myself and most of the team will be arriving on Monday. So if you look at the clock and the calendar, today is Wednesday. Sam will be 10 days from today. He'll be in Chicago, and then J5, myself, and several others arrive Monday morning to early afternoon. And then, the National is open on Monday and Tuesday to the dealers for the Case Break Pavilion, and then the regular floor, Wednesday to the public. And then, I know some folks who are just attending are coming in Tuesday, so that way they can kind of hang out at night and then be ready for, first thing Wednesday when they're allowed in the show.
Everyone's getting excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. And for those of you who can't make it, it will be in Atlantic City next year, of course, all being well. So for those of you East Coasters that enjoy driving and don't like to get on a plane, it'll be easier for you just to hop right on down to AC.
No, Jeff, I wouldn't take my dog. He'd be too maniacal. He'd be out of his mind.
Yeah, I think a lot of dogs probably wouldn't do that well at the National.
He'd buy everything, too.
Yeah, he wouldn't offer you a choice. He would just start, investigating. That's what Argy Boy used to do.
Yep.
What's up, Tom? Jim, hope all is well. So speaking of Jim, I did receive the cards for our trade, and so in just a few minutes, we're going to show those off. I wanted to start off with the cards that I got in trade from Jim, and then also the Otani Gold that I got from Charles. So, Lou, I'm going to switch screens here for just a minute. We're going to show off a couple cards.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Oops. Go to this one.
Did I get the right one?
Yep, you're good. No, I get the wrong one.
Okay. So don't forget, folks, at the end of the show today, we'll be giving away this 1962 Topps Roberto Clemente SGC4, courtesy of Leighton's Loft, Vintage Breaks, Just Collect, and special shout out to my friend Bill Zeltner. We did a little deal. This was one of the cards in the deal, so it's kind of fun to give away a Hall of Famer from that little group that we got and share the wealth with the community. Yeah, I myself, Mark, we're looking forward to it. Don't forget, folks, if you haven't already, comment on our Facebook thread in our buy-sell trade group for Vintage Breaks, or drop Chris Gilmore or Sam an email or a message in regards to if you want to make our event on Friday. We do need to give the Hyatt a head count. All right.
Hi to everybody. Thanks, everybody, for saying hi.
Oh, excellent. I'm glad Jim got his cards as well. Very cool.
The trade we pulled off last week on the show.
Yeah, so these are the 4 cards that we got in from Jim. Now, I think someone mentioned they were interested in this Reese. Let me take it out of the holder here. I'd have to say it looks better even in person. So it's going to take a deal to pry this out of my hands.
Oh, you liked it better when you saw it, huh?
Yeah, just, it's got a great look. Of course, you got a white bordered card against a black background, so that kind of makes it pop. And it just happens to be one of the most iconic images ever put on a baseball card. Especially not named Mickey Mantle, which is kind of cool. I see they took my advice. They now have Mickey with them at all times. I see the 52 back here. I see the 51 in our big hit random on the site. That's cool. So that's the first card, Jim. Thought that was great.
It's funny because the history of cards is they get the player for like 20 seconds and take the photo, but that one they had to set up, they had to work, they probably took a couple shots.
Yes, totally agree with you, Lou. They put some, they put some effort into it. Absolutely.
Yeah, through the 70s and the 80s, they just stood in there for a second, took a shot or two, and said, "Yeah, all right, thanks."
Daniel, I haven't looked under my light or my lamp or anything. I just kind of did so at first glance, but at first glance it looked great. And so here is...
Nicholas asks, who's sliding on that card? That's an interesting question.
I do not know.
No.
So here is a 56 Topps Campion and SGC4. That's a really nice example for the grade as well. Hey, what's up, Greg from Colorado? How are you?
Oh, Gil Hodges, according to Daniel.
Oh, wait. So I think Chris is interested... Sorry, I was missing here. So Chris is interested in the Reese. I'll do a trade for it, absolutely. We got to get Chris on. You got to work that out with... is J5 or Sam here? Okay, great. So J5, you want to text Chris and see if he wants to hop on? I don't really know the value of the Reese, but Chris Co is interested in the Reese. So see if he wants to hop on. It'd be kind of fun to do another trade, Lou.
Oh, absolutely.
Here is the McGraw.
Let's see if I have Chris's email. I might.
From the 350-460 series, which is kind of cool. Lou, I'm working on getting us a good guest. He runs like a T206 podcast.
Oh, really?
And I'm talking to Jules, and she's like, you think people are going to like that? I'm like, no, I think they're going to love it. Yeah, I'm like, honey, you got to understand, we're card nerds.
Yeah.
She's talking to me about some case, and, after I hear it's someone non-famous I don't know, I pretend I'm interested, honey. But I if it's not Madonna and Martin Brodeur, it really lost me at hello.
He said he has time.
Okay.
Martin Brodeur.
For something to trade.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Brodeur or whoever Brodeur was divorcing, but I think it was Brodeur.
Okay.
What'd you say, John?
He's looking for someone to trade or something of equal value.
Okay, great. Cool. Well, just keep me posted. I'm not sure what it's worth, but just here you can look it up, check it out. You guys can talk.
Tom says, "Damn right, we'll love a T206 expert."
Yeah, that's really cool. So speaking of Oregon, we're going to be talking about the new blog post that just went live, Lou. We're going to show it off just after the Maravich rookie and the Ohtani. So check this out. This is a gorgeous Maravich. So as Jim mentioned, it's not that he didn't like the Maravich. He just doesn't really dig basketball.
Oh, I see.
Not doesn't love it. Just not as avid about basketball as the other sports.
Mike asks if the T206 hit random sold out yet.
Not sure. I have to check the site, but if it's not on the site, it means it's sold out.
I'm not the biggest basketball guy either, but Pistol Pete, I mean, come on.
All right, Lou. Here she is, the Shohei Ohtani 2018 Topps Chrome Update Gold Refractor, number 11 of 50, PSA 10 rookie debut, which some folks are digging the batting pose a little bit more than the pitching pose of him. Regardless, it's still pretty cool. I don't personally own that many numbered card in my collection. Totally agree with you, Kev. I know Anson is. Yeah, he would be a good guest.
Shoei had a week, didn't he?
Oh, man. I literally found myself this morning at home, and I understand that you may not be from, down here, but there's a jingle of, what is it? It's O'Reilly Auto Parts. Have you ever heard that?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
The O. So I was thinking to myself, it's very bad.
Nice. I like it.
But I'm going to come up with a little jingle and do something on TikTok. We'll see if we can get some momentum.
That could work.
I think so. So anyway, Charles, I really appreciate the deal that we made. Now remember, with Jim, it was a trade. But with Charles, it was straight cash. And he's using that cash to hopefully fund, whether it be an Ernie Banks rookie in a PSA 7 or higher, or some other cool stuff at the National.
Charles already misses that card.
It's not for sale, sorry. It's funny. I did a deal with Chris Coe one time where I bought several cards. And I think, Chris Coe, if you're still watching, let me know. But correct me if I'm wrong. So in the deal, I bought a really nice Reggie rookie. It was like a 5.5, but it was really well centered.
Yep.
And what's up, Joe? I really didn't want to sell it, and if I used it, it was going to be for something cool for vintage breaks. And he was upgrading, and he said, I really can't find a centered one. And I said to him, hey, if you really want the card back, I'm like, I'll just charge you 50% more. It's not a big deal. Needless to say, I offered it to him at the same price that he charged me for it, and he took it back because what he found was that going into the marketplace, even though he could find a higher grade Reggie rookie, he wasn't able to find one with good eye appeal. So, anyway, thanks again, Charles. Really appreciate it.
You've got that O'Reilly's jingle in everybody's head.
Oh, are you kidding me? I've been singing it all day. It's got Ohtani now. This just went live on the site. 1958 Topps football cello pack. We're starting to roll out some of the goodies we've been saving for the National. As you saw the other day, we just launched the big 250 card graded hit random featuring these two guys. A 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle PSA 1. That's from the Pickles collection from Canada. And then a 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle PSA 4.5 rookie. We're going to talk more about that in the next week or so. Before we go any further, Lou, I want to pull up, if you can, our blog. Do I have to switch screens?
No. Yeah, you can switch screens.
Great. So if you could pull up blog.justcollect.com and the most recent one about the Oregon Trail collection.
Yeah. Give me a second to get the blog up here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's add this one instead. Okay, there we go. That's the front of the blog. We'll go into that particular item on the blog. There we are.
Yeah, I love the photo, man. How great is that top?
Oh, the top here?
They put together the Oregon Trail with the Just Collect logo and some highlights of the collection.
That's right. We got to correct. It can't be Oregon anymore. It's
I
Oregon.
know. I try very hard. My wife's been asking me, like, why do I say Oregon specifically 17 times a day? Like asking, like, is there other big finds out there? I say I have no idea, but I'm trying very hard to practice.
All right. So this was the story. We heard the story last week of Andy and his friend said, "Hey, I got some cards. Come take a look." And it turned out to be a pretty significant collection.
Yeah, very much so. And so you could read all the details, folks, on our blog at blog.justcollect.com. And not just about this collection, but we have hundreds of posts, hundreds of stories about different collections we bought over the years, as far back as 10, 12 years ago, I believe. Monty's been so great at migrating over all of our older blogs from our previous blog, so that way we can have everything in a nice new shiny blog that we manage with HubSpot. I feel like I should get paid for that, HubSpot. Thank you.
Look at this. God, there's so much stuff here.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And the team does a really great job of photographing it and documenting it for the web.
Oh, is Mark McGuire there? My guy.
That 54 Topps Ted Williams that you see, Lou, just got graded SGC4, and it's in that big hit random with the Mickey Mantle 52 Topps and the 51 Bowman Mantle.
Wow. Full story here. Nice telling of the story, which is a fascinating one you will want to dive into.
Thanks again, Ken, for the logo for the blog, or I don't know if the logo, but the photograph you put together.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
A little nostalgia even in the image.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, no, I think it was great. So thanks. Really appreciate working with Andy on that. Super great to get that in. So 5 o'clock today, if folks don't know, we'll give you a heads up. In about 10 or 15 minutes, we're going to have Ray Schulte, the PR director for the National Sports Collectors Convention, joining us to talk about the show, answer a couple questions from the community, Lou, about the show. And also, I'm hoping he'll share maybe a behind-the-scenes story about Donnie Baseball.
He should have some.
I think so.
Got J5 if you're looking for him.
Yes, we're looking for J5 because we want to talk about these two cards that we just purchased.
All right, there he is.
Hey, there I am.
That's great. It's funny because I thought you were going to be standing over my shoulder, which he so often does in the office.
No, we're using the technology today.
No, I think it's great, Lou. This is a really interesting we'll call it the dynamic duo, seeing as how we just had the Lone Wolf collection, Ken. This is a collection where there's only 2 cards total. But instead of me spoiling the story, J5 did all the hard work and the heavy lifting. So J5, take it away. Tell us about the cards, and then let me know when we should show them off.
Sure. So I'm looking at the testimonial for him in email form, but I'll kind of tell you guys the cliff notes. So the gentleman right now lives in Pennsylvania. When he was younger, he was in North Carolina, and he stopped by an antique store, and he saw this little collection. I think he said it was like maybe between 100 to 200 cards of tobacco cards. Now, the only reason he purchased it is because he thought that it looked cool, that the design was cool. That was really what drove him to buy the cards. And at that time, I think he was between him and another person, and he offered the person a little bit over $100 for the collection. And this was back, I don't remember the exact date, but it was like years ago.
I mean, like 70s J5, or?
I think it was like late 80s, 90s.
Oh.
So the thing was, when he bought it, he knew there was Hall of Famers in there. Again, he didn't buy it to sell it. He just bought it because he thought it was cool. Now, as the years went by, the value of these cards went up. Well, from what he told me is that majority of the cards he sold put his daughters through college.
Oh my God.
So after all the cards were graded by PSA, he sold them. He was left with just 2. And he had it just for a keepsake to remember the cards he had. And the 2 that he was left with was Napoleon Lajoie and the card that Leighton's about to show off. Go ahead, Leighton.
All right, I'm switching the screens. So this is the first card.
Nice.
There it is.
That's the first card.
That's the Lajoie.
It came in graded. It's the throwing variation. All of Knapp's cards from the T206 set are very desirable, but this one in particular has got a really nice look to it, Lou, with the sweater.
It does, and the color looks nice.
Oh, it's...
Yeah.
I mean, look how many colors are in the background, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5?
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, thinking about this card being produced in 1910, they did okay for themselves back then, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so before I show this off, I'll show the back. Really nice back. So, J5, you want me to take it away from here and talk about how we got the card in?
Yes.
All right, so, Lou, J5's telling me about the story of hundreds of tobacco cards.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, when's this going to get good? Because all the cards are sold.
Yeah.
He's like, no, they have 2 left. I'm like, 2? You know, I'm thinking in my own mind, like, it better be a Wagner or a Plank. You know, and of course, it's not going to be a Wagner or a Plank. But, you know, like, that's what you hope for. And so he's like, no, wait, it's not bad. It's a Ty Cobb. I'm like, all right, well, that's not bad. You know, like, we're interested. So it's graded PSA already, and it's actually a pretty good grade, which you can see. I'm about to turn it over in a minute. However, the only caveat is, when we get it in, it's in the old holder. When I mean the old holder, one of the older holders that PSA graded back maybe in the first 5 years of when they were grading. And so, you know...
It's a collectible.
Yes, but you can imagine, Lou, for the check that we were going to write, we wanted to make sure that there was no issues. And so we saw a few things with the case that we felt, you know, we disclosed this to the gentleman. We said, you know, listen, we hope you can understand. And obviously it's a high dollar transaction. You know, we want to buy the card, but we really want to have it reholdered by PSA.
Yeah.
Would you be comfortable with that? And so, of course, I just hand that to J5, the assignment, and I say, J5, let me know how it goes. You know, and I figure if it doesn't go well, maybe I'll have to get on the phone. But, you know, to J5's credit, just like he does every time, is very calming and explained to the individual what we were trying to do and said, hey, if you're not comfortable, we get it. We hope you can understand where we're coming from. We can't write a big check until we understand that the card is in the newer, you know, secure PSA holder, and that, to be fair, that the grade is accurate, right? And so somehow we figure out that PSA will allow us to reholder it without having to second mortgage the home, right? And we send it in, and we get it back to like G5 with a week. Like,
Yeah, and they told me, oh, maybe a month, maybe two. I was like, okay, no problem. And then a week and a half later, it comes back.
so they reholdered this beauty. Everything was fine, but check this out, man.
Oh man.
Unbelievable. Like one of the nicest, if not the nicest ever, T206 Ty Cobb, bad on shoulder, PSA 5.5. The thing is dead nuts centered. It actually looks ex-mint if you see it in person. And if you can't see it that great on here, it'll be at the National. Don't you worry.
Good
It'll be
Lord.
with me at all times. I might wear it around my neck like Logan Paul.
There you go. That'll be on your lanyard.
I think I got a laugh from someone. Someone? All right, good. Just want to verify. Excellent.
Yep. He was very understanding, very calm, collective. He was very cool with the procedure. And again, he said he doesn't need the money. It was never about that. It's just that it was time to go. And he had a good time. Obviously, it worked out for him and his daughters. And he decided to, go through the process about getting the card re-slabbed.
Yeah, he was really, and I don't want to sound too corny, Lou, but I mean, really, he was very supportive. And what I mean is, if like he said, hey, I don't need the money. A lot of people say that, and to be honest, I don't feel like that's the case. Like it may not be true. However, we could just tell by his demeanor he wanted to be treated fairly and wanted to deal with a reputable company. And so, even though I'm sure he was inconvenienced and would have rather had the check the next day, he understood what we were saying and where we were coming from. And we filled him in the whole way. Like, hey, here's the label of the PSA. This is what they said. Are you okay with 30 days to 60 days? Because we wouldn't want you to get upset. Even though, of course, there's no guarantees. And meanwhile, they turned it around in like 7 to 10 days.
Wow. Amazing. People are asking about the pop report. Do we have a pop report?
I do not, but I'm giving out a BAM spot to Todd C. for, I think that's fantastic. I might sing this on the way home. Sweet Georgia Peaches.
That's right, baby.
Love it. Sweet Georgia Peaches is right. It's a beautiful card. Really proud to have acquired this, through our company. And what's really crazy is if you had to say to me, J5, when we got these and we got them in and we had and I looked at it and I came back to you, like, it's okay now. I realize you're playing Monday morning quarterback, but like, what do you think the chances were out of 10? Forget about that the guy was going to agree to what you wanted to do. Like that he wasn't going to tear your head off through the phone.
Yep.
You can be honest, because you have a very good poker face with me, so I don't know sometimes.
Now you're being asked about old holder versus new holder. Was it an effect on the price? Or is it just you wanting to make sure you knew what you were buying?
Great question, Melch. So basically, Lou, we were paying very fair for it, i.e. strong. So we were not, i.e. trying to buy it for a cheaper price because it was an old holder. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say that was part of the issue, but it was part of the issue, meaning we weren't going for a deal. We were paying strong for it. And so in order to do that, we needed to make sure that it was a 5.5 with today's standards, and to be fair, that the holder wasn't messed with in any way.
So it was a 5.5 in the old holder, and
Yes.
it stayed at 5.5 in the regrade.
Yes, it did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's what the gentleman asked too. He was like, "Are you guys trying to recreate it or just reholder it?" Like, no, we just want to reholder. The cost is like $17. I don't think they're gonna regrade it at $17.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. So they did not physically regrade it; they just put it in a new holder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if they had a problem with it, I can guarantee you they would not. And I would get a phone call that would be very upsetting.
I would imagine, yeah.
So
from 1 to 10, Lee, I would say I felt like a 5.
okay, so you thought so we had a chance.
Yeah, but once I talked, I told him exactly what we needed to say, and he just came back at me like, "Oh yeah, sure, that sounds good."
Well, see, here's the thing, and I love how modest J5 is. Give yourself some credit, seriously. We were talking about some advertisement, Lou, that we're doing for the National, and I've been very into Don Draper and the whole Mad Men thing recently, getting psyched up for the National. You can't just advertise to people. You can't just write them a check. It doesn't work like that. You got to connect. So J5, I would say, yes, you may have made it seem that easy, but it could be because the entire time, from the moment you started chatting with him on the phone, that he was comfortable with you, and he didn't think that you were trying to get one over on him or buy it really fast. Or
his demeanor was a product of his interactions with J5.
Yes.
Yep. And just to sweeten everything up, I took pictures of the FedEx label. I took a picture of the tracking. I emailed it right away, exactly like every step of the way. Because even though he was okay with it, he was calm and cool. That is just part of what I do in the process, just to make everyone feel like they're in the knowing. I don't want to keep anybody out of anything. So
Beautiful, great acquisition. And Jason was right. I feel the same thing. The color on those cards is incredible.
Oh, you can tell what's beautiful about them, and I'll have them both at the National. I don't know if they'll be for sale, but I'll have them both at the National. Is you can tell J5, him and I both said it, and Lou, you're noticing it as well. Some of the gang is noticing it. These aren't washed out. These are very fresh. They were acquired with a group of cards that were kept out of the light, that were taken care of, that were cared for. Man, I wish he had all the other cards. Like, I'm very happy to have his card and proud to own both cards at the moment. But man, I can only imagine the eye appeal of some of those other, beauties in there.
yeah. He also wanted to confirm he never had the Wagner. He never had any of the big ones.
At least he didn't break our heart, with that. Or J5's doing it so that I can feel okay.
Or he's already turned them over, and it's like, no, I never had them.
Yeah.
And Chris Coe is ready to trade him. It's not too late.
Sure. So I think what we're going to do
Ray.
is we're going to have Ray join us because he's scheduled for 5. And then if we don't go too late, we'll have Chris hop on today before 5:30. But if not, if Chris is comfortable, I'll hold the card for a week. And then we'll do a trade next week live on air.
Okay, J5, thanks a lot.
Whatever you guys think. Thanks, J5.
Yeah,
Great job.
All right, now we've got Ray Schulte here. Hi, Ray.
How you doing, Lou? Hi, Leighton.
Hey, Ray. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Oh, I already noticed some nice, fun stuff in the background. How long have you had the Jackie Robinson frame poster for?
Well, I collect posters. That's what I do. I love vintage posters. I started collecting them in the early '80s, my mindset was to collect vintage posters, near mint condition, sports related, pre-60. So, when I was living in New York, I had a 2-bedroom apartment on 85th Street, and I got inundated with all these Schotskys and premiums and all that. So, for me, it's all about collecting. I don't care what you collect, teaspoons or Huggy Bears or whatever. It's collecting. And so for me, I wanted to collect something. And so a friend of mine in PR in New York gave me a lobby card from a movie as a birthday present one year. And he told me the story behind it. He told me how, movie production houses, they couldn't get their next movie unless they sent back the movie posters. And so I did a lot of research, and I found out, hey, this is really cool. This is something that that I would like to do. And then I kind of came, all right, well, vintage posters, they've got to be U.S. And I have a lot of stipulations, obviously, but I've got a couple of really cool Yankee Pride and Lou Gehrig Rawhide, and some that again go back. I've got a lot, early 1903, 1905,
Oh, wow.
and so. But yeah, so I collect them, and the great thing about them, and especially in New York, was that you can hang them on your walls, and they're artwork, and they're appreciated by everybody, whether you're a sports fan or not. So I just continue that trend.
I love it. At the same time, I think it's going to be a problem, Ray. I'm seeing the way they display, and I'm going to ask my wife to watch today's Loft, and hopefully she's going to enjoy them as much as me, because I'm now going to be going after one at the National. Not one of yours. I'll probably ask for some of your advice, and there'll be some, certainly great ones I'm sure to choose from at the show. But I can see it looks great on the wall. My wife will put something up, at home, and it'll just be some random design, and she's like, what do you think? And I just say, hey, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to be honest, or would you prefer me just to say, what you're looking to hear? And usually it doesn't end up in a good spot for me, Ray. So I'm thinking I'll bring some beauty into the home with one of these posters. And even, worst cases, she's going to say, it's got to go in your room, or if I'm lucky, she'll say it can go upstairs in Crosby's room. But we're going to work it into the rotation. I really like them.
I strongly suggest you start small. These are lobby cards behind me.
Okay.
Then it goes to 1 sheet and a 3 sheet. Now, a 3 sheet takes up a lot of room. I've got 4 of them here, but they're beautiful. But it takes up a lot of space.
Fair enough. Well, thanks again for joining us today. I know you've been working hard, getting ready for the big event in just about 10, 11 days from now. So tell us, from from ground zero, if you will, of the National, how excited you guys are that the show is happening. Do you have anything that you're concerned about in terms of, because we have a lot of folks who are watching that are actually going to be going, Ray, and I figured I would ask on behalf of the community. I myself am not concerned, but I figure you're the man to ask. Is there anything that we should caution folks about, whether it be bring an extra mask with you or whatever the case may be? We're thrilled that that you're on with us, and we'd love to hear it straight from you.
Well, when we had the situation we're in, we had to adhere to all the state of Illinois, health officials, government officials, and so we took a precautionary approach and worked with the governor in the sense the governor set down a 5-phase program, and for us it was important that we make decisions based on no restrictions. We didn't want to come into this with maybe X amount in terms of capacity or having to wear masks. And by the way, you can certainly wear a mask at the show. It's your prerogative, but it's not mandatory. And so we were fortunate that the timing was such that the mayor's 5th phase came, I think it was on June 10th. And at that point, we could go ahead and say, all right, we're officially having the event. Now, we're hoping and praying that obviously safety is our number one concern. Probably more concerned with the numbers actually versus the health condition. With the numbers that we're anticipating one of the biggest crowds we've ever had. Our general admission tickets have quadrupled from a timing standpoint, and we sold out of VIPs. We couldn't create any more VIPs. We didn't have the content, the product anymore. So it just kind of ran its course. So fortunately for us, and this at the National, we have some really pretty wide aisles, and we're looking that we're gonna be okay. Well, we've hired extra security, just to make sure that everything is fluid and flowing smoothly. But I've never seen this before. I guess I started with the National in 2010. And I've never witnessed anything in terms of the pent-up excitement and the participation that we have here in Chicago. It's just it's mind-boggling, and to say that we're excited is an understatement, because obviously us, just the staff, just like the attendees, just like the exhibitors, we had to go through the challenges, we had to go through the frustrations, and then we ended up, I couldn't really do anything from a media standpoint because a lot of the media companies were, their people weren't even in the offices a few months ago. So I couldn't even reach out, and I couldn't commit to anything. So basically what we're doing like 11 months of work, we're cramming into like a month and a half. So you can imagine, but we've got great media partners. Fortunately, they know us. They know all about us. It's not something where I have to go in and explain who we are, what we're trying to accomplish. They're right there saying, "Hey, Ray, what can we do?" And they're jumping on board, and so we're very excited about that. But
Ray, we're getting so much positive response. Everyone's so excited about the National. How was it for vendors, for example? Was there some initial hesitation, or was everyone as excited on the vendor side as the public seems to be about going to the show?
Well, depending upon when you're talking about, Lou, far back, everybody was a little precautious because of the health issues. Nobody knew what tomorrow was going to bring. And so when you're talking about making long-term plans, flights and hotel reservations, it's difficult to commit at that time. Now, fortunately, if you remember, maybe last year, it was a little bit more difficult. The hotels and the airlines weren't as forgiving as they were this year. So I think people have felt a little bit more of a comfort level, so they can go out and make a hotel reservation, make an airline, and either they get them refunded back, or they can move it on to another time and date. So I think there's a more of a comfort level there. But yeah, everybody is still a little inquisitive about hey, what is going to happen? What will transpire when we get there? But I can tell you that we're very, very optimistic and excited that from our conversations, and we continue to have the conversations with the health and government officials in Chicago and Rosemont, and we're there's nothing that anybody feels that there's something to worry about. We're all moving forward 100%.
That's great to hear, Ray. And just to confirm, next year's convention, as of now, is scheduled for Atlantic City?
Yeah, Atlantic City next year. And it's funny. One thing I like to point out, which a lot of people, and it relates to the industry. One of the things, remember when we finished 2019 in Chicago, the industry, and especially our show, we had a tremendous amount of momentum. I thought it was one of the best shows we've ever had. Going into Atlantic City. Unfortunately, Atlantic City we had to cancel, but with that momentum and with what happened in the industry in terms of the e-commerce and everything else that put us in a position where we saw the surge of trading cards, and we saw a lot of the international participation. We saw a lot of influencers getting involved. It's kind of like a perfect storm. Everything was coming together, and I think now, this is like, it's kind of like it will be the show of shows. There's no question about it. And like I said earlier, I've never experienced the excitement that I have, to date.
While we're talking cities, Jason wants to ask if Cleveland will ever be back in the mix.
Well, that wasn't our decision. That was their decision. They closed up the convention center. And matter of fact, they closed it up in such a way that a lot of the reporters were calling me, asking me what was going on in Cleveland. They didn't even know what happened, and it all boiled down to a political decision within the city of Cleveland. And would we like to go back there? Sure. Right now, there's no plans on it. Not until they come back and tell us that in 2023, 24, 25, we're going to get back into business. It's a shame. We love Cleveland, but it was a perfect scenario. When we get, and trust me, we get suggestions, recommendations. Why don't you move it to Florida? Why don't you move to Texas and Washington, state of Washington? You can't pivot like that with the magnitude of the show we have. Cleveland was perfect for that. Cleveland was really good. It checked off all the boxes we have. And I like Atlantic City. I really do. When we talk about Atlantic City, the staff talks about the great relationship we have with the convention people, the great relationship we have with the local authorities there. They bend over backwards. And that wasn't always the case. Years ago, you were lucky. They basically didn't treat you the same way, but they're a whole different animal right now in terms of how they want to see business come into their city. So we're excited about Atlantic City and hope that this will, again, I'm sure it will. This will be a huge momentum opportunity going into next season.
Yeah, I think that this show, I know a lot of people are talking about it could be the best show ever. It's going to rival, Anaheim, which, as a young lad, I was not able to go in 1991, Ray. But I'm going to go on record in saying, barring any unforeseen circumstances, we're gonna have the busiest show we've ever seen. I believe it's going to break the attendance records of 1991, and if it doesn't, it's still going to be exciting nonetheless. And I wanted to ask you, from your standpoint, more so, let's say, not as the the guru and the PR person and the marketing director of the National, but more so on a personal side. What are you really looking forward to the most at the National?
Well, that's easy. One of the things I love, and Mike Burkus and John Brogy started this years ago. Actually, when I came on, basically the first thing they did was say, listen, 12 years old and under get in free. Now, I think before me, it was like on Sundays, but this was going to be 5 days throughout the entire show. And Mike and John had that vision. They wanted to bring kids in. And I remember all these conversations we used to have with the manufacturers. Everybody said we need to get kids involved. Need to get more kids involved. Well, Mike took the initiative. He did it, and it kind of took off from there. And it's kind of created a situation where, today, like in the last couple of shows, I can't tell you how many kids you've seen. I mean, it's been unbelievable. Now, last year was even more so in that, not only did they have the dad, the son, but you also saw the daughter, the grandparents. You saw the entire family there. And probably when you ask me the most exciting thing is when I was walking down an aisle, this is in 2019, and I stopped at a booth and I saw a dad and about a 15-year-old kid, and they were talking, and I kind of wanted to go over and listen to what they were saying. The dad was looking at a Mickey Mantle jersey, talking to his son about how, when he grew up, Mickey Mantle was his favorite. He did this. He was such a great guy. I got to visit, the stadium and all that. Well, the kid said right back to me, he goes, "No, Dad, it's Aaron Judge." And from there was that interact, that connection that I just thought was, it's what it's all about, right? It's all about that, the sharing, and so they had something in common, and they were sharing it, and so, and then I've seen the mothers and the women that are coming back. It's just, to me, that's the most exciting thing for me. I tell people, and again, you're in the business of making money and branding and everything else, but for me, I tell people, hey, even if you're not, going to buy something, come down to the show because it's an experience. You can walk around without buying anything and get your money tenfold, money's worth. So, and I know that one of the probably most exciting things for me too is it's all about, everybody says, well, our prices going to be high, they're going to be low, they're going to be selling, they're not going to sell. Now, to me, that's not what the show's about, really. It's about connecting. It's about, and the difference between this show and, like, say, Anaheim is we have so many different things coming into play here. I mean, from Pokemon to grading. I mean, all these things are coming into play that can be addressed, can be dealt with, at the show. So I like that, and I like the fact that there's no place else where you can spend 5 days, talking to, making friends, seeing old friends, and just and I'm talking about friendships for life. I mean, these people are great about that. And so we have sports fans coming, and we as well as collectors, and I think Mike would be extremely happy if he was to see what's going on right now.
I think so too.
You talked a little bit about security earlier, Ray, and the question occurred to me, and it's an impossible question to answer, I guess, but has anyone attempted to imagine how much money is on the floor of the National at a given time?
Well, I think that's anybody's guess. But we're always working with authorities. I know we don't make this public, but we're in contact with the FBI. We're in contact with local authorities. Because we want to hold true to the integrity of the industry, of the business. And, now with a lot of people coming in, we want to protect the exhibitors, and we want to protect the attendees in terms of, people who may want to take advantage of, crowds and situations. So those are things that we take very seriously, and, we're always looking out. I mentioned security earlier, obviously for crowds and all that, but it goes further on than that. But I'd rather not say more than that.
So let's switch gears for just a minute, Ray. And your son Ryan, how old is he?
He's 11.
And is he actively collecting right now?
Thanks to a number of people in the hobby, he is. Yeah, he's gotten. He's at that age where. He's at that age where it's clicking. He's watching baseball games, he's watching football games, and he's kind of connecting the players with the trading cards and the activity. He's coming out with me. He's going to be my assistant for 5 days in Chicago.
That's great. I was gonna ask you. So, is he around now? Because if he is, we'd love to invite him to open a pack, and if not, he can join us in Chicago when you guys are together, and you can stop by our booth.
Oh, I think you'd love that. Yeah, let's do it in Chicago. That'd be fantastic.
That's great. Well, I'm really looking forward to the show myself, but I would be not doing my job if I didn't ask you something juicy you can share with us. Funny. Or if you want to choose, great. But we'd love to hear a little, nugget about Donnie Baseball. If you don't know, he was my favorite, baseball player growing up. And I know you guys have worked together for some time. And what he's been able to accomplish both, on and off the field has been tremendous. But I'd love if you could share, maybe something funny like an outtake or, something interesting to the community.
Well, I've represented Donnie, and I still do, since 83. And he's the type of person that hasn't changed a bit. I mean, he's down home. He's like talking to any of your friends. And so, when I started working with him, I got besieged by calls. Everybody, in 84, 85, everybody wanted to get his attention and have him do events and PR and endorsements and all that. And it got to a point where he said, hey Ray, the only thing I want to do is I want to focus on the field. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, all these things are great. He goes, but the only place I want to see my name is in the box score. And this is when I first started working with him. So it clicked right away that hey, this guy is serious. He's focused, and he knows how to his surroundings, but at the same time, he's so great about giving back and and doing the things that make you say, hey, this guy's pretty cool. That's probably one of the reasons why he's got such a great reputation, because he's just a fantastic guy. But yeah, there are a lot of stories, all positive, all great, and today we're friends, but as I tell him, he's my client first, and that's the most important thing. And some of the things that that I think he's got even a better future in terms of managing.
Yeah, no, I'm super pumped for him and what he's doing. We'll talk more at the National, but we'd love to get him, on here to join us, even if it's virtually, for a pack break in the future. I think that would be super fun. I did want to show you something that we're super proud of here, Ray. This is a T206 Ty Cobb PSA 5.5 that we just bought and had reholdered by PSA in their new holder. And we were just talking about it shortly before you joined us at 5 o'clock today.
Oh, great.
So that'll be at the National, as well as some other fun stuff at our booth.
Well, I tell you what, if it's all right with you, I got 4 tickets here if you want to give them away.
Oh, wow.
These are general admission tickets, good any day for 1 day.
Oh, wow.
I'll send them out to whoever.
Thank you so much, Ray. We'll give them out to our community actually on today's show, or maybe next week's show, whatever the case may be. We'll have Lou decide. But that's very generous of you, Ray, and the National, and sincerely appreciate you joining us. I'm really looking forward to seeing you and your son out there, and the entire National community.
Can't wait. I just can't wait. It's kind of like I was hoping it's tomorrow.
Yes. The only problem would be I wouldn't be fully ready, but I'd still go. I'd buy all my clothes out there. I'd make it happen, Ray.
It's going to be exciting.
That's going to be great. Well, thanks so much for your hard work and the entire team. Looking forward to seeing you in just a couple weeks.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Take it easy.
All right, Ray Schulte from the National.
That was great, Lou.
Oh, love Ray. Ray's a good guy.
And a little cherry on top there. We're going to be able to give away 4 tickets to the National.
Yes.
We'll do that, I guess, maybe next week on the Loft, so that you can, do a social media post about that and thank the National.
Yep.
That would be really great.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I did want to go over just the 7 prizes for today, and then J5. You think we should bring in Chris now? J5's giving me the go-ahead. All right, so we'll talk about the 7 prizes after, but we have action here. We have Chris ready. Let me pull the. Where's the Reese?
We're
Can you
gonna
hear
do
it?
some hopping. Yeah, we can hear you, Chris.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good. All right, I did some research.
All right, good. So tell me, because I got to tell you, man, for $400, J5 hands me a ticket. He says this is what it sold for $400. I'm like, $400? I don't really want to trade this, you know?
56 Banks Gray, PSA 5. That's an option.
Okay.
56 Teddy Ball.
All right. Well, Teddy Ball game is a little bit more my style. Ernie Banks is for
Gray,
Sir Charles.
What is it? Oh, it's a PSA 4. Another option.
Oh, nothing wrong with a
PSA
nice.
6.
Nice.
Roger Ramirez, 60s. Since everyone loves the 60s.
Yeah.
If you want, because I'm a soccer guy.
Oh, we got a
Mbappe,
little Mbappe.
9.5. And if you really want to go big with the time we have, I like that bat on shoulder.
Uh-oh. He's going to put me to a decision.
Let's see.
I haven't even owned it for like 12 minutes.
That's the point, so you don't get too attached.
Oh, I'm attached. Oh, wow.
Oh, now
He
we're
is
good.
making me think. Oh, dear Christmas.
But we can focus on the Reese.
Yeah, let's focus on the Reese because that just started making me sweat, Chris.
Chris is not pulling punches here. He's just
No,
like,
no, he came down to do business with like 3 minutes, and he's sharp as a tack. Yeah, we can't do the Cobby right now, but I'm absolutely going to talk turkey
Yeah.
on the Reese.
I checked up on SGC. It's a 4, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been going for anywhere. Where did I? Oh, here's my screen. Yeah, it's been pretty consistent around 400, 330, 400. But it's got great eye appeal, so I'm willing to pay more.
great. We're willing to charge more.
Yeah. Well, and also it's from Ector, so I'll give it Ector.
Yeah.
Well, but like Teddy Ball's 300 roughly. You can check those up. The Gray Banks is kind of roughly around 200, and then I think the Maris, I just looked that up, is anywhere from 125 to 160 depending on eye appeal. So
Great.
All right.
happy to do combination of multiples or cash to make the difference,
Yeah,
or
Let
card
me
sale.
ask you about that.
Yeah.
Would you prefer in these situations to do a one-on-one swap, or would you prefer a multiples for one?
I mean, I would say in terms of for cards, I always like to trade up if you can. I've been doing a bunch of trading down, meaning I take a card that's really good and I get 2 or 3 back. There's nothing wrong with either one. I would say, Chris, tell me what you think. I think most people, if all else is equal, they prefer to trade a bunch of little things to get a bigger thing. But I think that one of the fun things for me, Lou, as being an owner of Vintage Breaks and just collecting, and also really caring about giving back to the community, like, hey, if I love a card, I won't be shy about saying I don't want to sell it, I don't want to trade it. But I'm also pretty easygoing. So if I don't want to keep the card, yeah, if I have to trade down to like help someone out, or like I did with that 33 Gaudy Yellow Roof, like I wouldn't normally have done that, but I could tell that Paul really wanted it, and I didn't want to make it really difficult for him and say, hey, I'm only going to do it if you have a $10,000 card. And so anyway.
Plus, you have a different set of circumstances because you're in the card flow. I mean, when you trade this one out, one's going to come along in a week, a month, whenever it is. Some people looking at that in their collection, they may never see another one and never be in a position to put another one in their collection.
That's exactly it, Lou. And so I feel I really am very fortunate and grateful for that. And as much as, like, for example, and Chris knows me well enough. Chris, like, I definitely love this card and I think it's great eye appeal. But I know enough, like, I'll come across another one. And so what I was going to suggest is I love the fact that you wanted to get it for your collection. Jim's a great guy and a wonderful supporter of our community. So I think what you were saying is, if I got the numbers right, can you show me the 56 Teddy Ball game again? Great. So, Chris, why don't we do this? If you're willing to do the Teddy Ball game and the Maris, what I'd like to do is the Teddy Ball game and the Maris for the Reese. If I owe you anything, I'll give you a break credit. But what I'd like to do is keep the Teddy Ball game for me, and I'm going to give away the Roger Maris next week on the Loft.
Okay, how about this? So the difference is roughly $30.
Okay.
How about we give the $30 away as break credit to the community?
Let's do that. I like that. We'll give it away on today's show following the Loft. When Sam or J5 takes over, we're going to give away the $30 difference as a break credit, courtesy of the Chris Coe and Leighton trade. Teddy Ball game is coming to my collection. Roger Maris is going to be coming to a collection maybe near you next week on the Loft. And
Wow.
Chris, you're going to get a really nice card.
And it's got great eye appeal.
Oh,
Great
it does.
appeal.
I already miss it.
Awesome
I already
eye
miss
appeal.
it. I'm not even going to take it off the desk when I leave the end of the loft because I'm going to get upset and text you and say I don't want to do the deal anymore. So I'll just keep it on the desk.
Fair enough.
So what'd you think of the Cobb while we have 30 seconds? What'd you think of this crazy story? Whoa.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. Like, I'm a huge proponent, like, scarcity. There's only, I think I posted up in the chat, there's like 7 total in a 5, or in a 5, and then with the qualification, there's only one 5.5, which is probably that one.
Yeah, it's probably this one.
It's, it's a Piedmont. I don't know if it's a Piedmont 150 or 350 because that makes a difference.
It's a Piedmont 350.
Okay, yeah. So, I think that one might be more scarce, but you can't really, it's hard to put a price. You can't really look at comps at it. And that's the thing. And so, for me, like, I have a PSA 4 of this. I have a red PSA 3 that has a slight wrinkle, but it's a Tolstoy back. Those are really hard to find.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's a great card.
I'd almost rather have a rare back, lesser grade, maybe even less eye appeal, but because it's scarce, I'd rather have that than, say, a PSA 4 that's with a
It's
sweet
still a great card, but
cap, which is more common.
sure.
So that's just me. It's my preference.
Yeah, I definitely have a bunch of, tougher and scarce back T206s in my collection, and I would say I oscillate. But what happens is, Chris, for a while now, I've generally stopped buying T206s for my collection from like the public. Because I'm fortunate, in the position I'm in for just collect, I try to take the cards for T206s I like from the fresh batches we get, and I keep those. So I'll be looking at this Cobb tonight, that's for sure, giving it a good look over. We're just excited to have it, and I'm glad that we could do another deal today, Chris. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
See you, Chris.
See ya.
Yeah, this is so much fun. We're just trading cards left and right.
Yeah, this is just really a primer for the National. That's really what this is.
If you're going to do a pie chart of trade versus cash, how much trading goes on at the National?
So I got to be honest. I think 2 years ago I would have said almost none. Like, I'm sure there was. I think it's going to be very prevalent this year. And the reason is because it's social, right? So if you come up and you want to buy my Pee Wee Reese for 400, maybe you say hi, maybe you don't. Maybe you see, you've seen my eyes pop out of my head on YouTube. Maybe you don't. You just laugh, and it's the guy that his eyes pop out on YouTube. I get it. But like at the end of the day, not everyone, 8 out of 10 people, they're not going to necessarily talk to you after they buy that card, right? Here's your 400, right? And I'm on my way to keep looking. But if you do a trade, you have to connect. It's impossible not to. Special shout out to my friend Mark, who's going to be joining me at the National for a little bit, the Just Collect booth, hanging out. Once again, speaking of trading, he's like, Leighton, I don't even care if I sell anything, but, I'm open to trading. Yeah. Like, absolutely. I want to, go there and do good business and have fun. But if you told me that the biggest transaction I did all week was a monster trade, 6-figure trade or something crazy,
wow.
Like, I think that would be great. So before I forget, because I see like the teams huddling over, they're like, get out of here. I have no, exact anything other than what's about to come out, Streaming Consciousness. Here's the deal. If you're not going to the National, this may be interesting to you. If you're going to the National, this may be interesting to you. I, myself, for Just Collect and Vintage Breaks, am looking to hire someone for the week out there who's interested in video and already knows about video and has equipment. And as much as you may be learning about it and have a love of it, at the end of the day, I need someone who can actually handle it, document what we're doing, have some fun while we're doing it. And of course, there would be, pay involved and all that kind of good stuff. But I didn't know if, this late in the game, if there was going to be, whether it be an individual or individuals out there who are interested. So Lou, if you don't mind, could you put my email, please, in the chat? Guys, if you could help out Lou, that'd be great. Contact me directly, Leighton@justcollect.com. So once again, this is for a video gig at the National. Effectively, you're going to eat, breathe, and you know what, all day and night, the National. You're going to be hanging out, but you're going to be working. We're going to hopefully, set you up and give you some access to maybe things that you wouldn't have normally had access to, meaning some behind-the-scenes stuff. We're hoping to have, whether it be Gary and some other player breaks that we're going to do as well. So all that stuff is things that we want to document at the National. And what happened was, upon looking at the staff that's going, if someone's going to do that on our team that's already going, it's going to hurt our ability to do the job that we want to do out there. And so if someone's interested, drop me a line. Apparently Andy Brentano would be interested, but the only thing he has is a camcorder from 95. And I think he was trying to copy The Weekend at Bernie's or come out with the trilogy, because they have a 1 and 2, right? But they didn't come out with a third one. He's the reason they didn't, because he had a bad camcorder.
Couldn't do it on VHS for you.
Absolutely. Speaking of VHS, like VHS is now being collected. I saw some company advertise on Facebook
Really?
a VHS copy of whatever. So here's the deal. The general rule is just don't throw anything out anymore. Yep. Just, run a dumpster, and, just don't let any of it perish, and you'll be fine.
VHS is the world's first NFT.
That was a good line, Lou. I like that.
So how are we giving away this Clemente card?
So the Clemente is going to be first place in Leighton's Loft giveaway today. There'll be 6 other prizes. There's going to be that, a $25 break credit, a 63 top set spot, and 4 BAM spots. And the team, whether it be Sam, J5, the rest of the gang, they're going to give that away, Lou, right after this at the end of our show. You can tune in on youtube.com/vintagebreaks, or, of course, on Facebook. Hang out, chill, and hopefully you're lucky enough to win one of these 7 prizes. And check out all the great stuff we have going on this afternoon on Vintage Breaks.
Good crowd today. Everyone was excited and having fun, and they got involved with Ray and with us, and we appreciate it. Pulled off a trade. Another great show. Love the people who show up. Make sure you share us with a friend, and we'll see you next week, right?
Yep. Special thanks to Ray Schulte for joining us from the National. Extra special shout out again to Chris Coe. It was really fun, as always, dealing with you and doing a deal and a trade, live on the show. And please, folks, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to Leighton's Loft on Facebook, so that way you'll know each and every time I go live, which is Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
See you next week.
All right, I'm leaving the Reese here. Just want the record to everyone know. Tony, I'm not leaving here.
You sure? I don't
Oh, I'm sure.